DreamWorks Animation Studios' first film of 2023 is about a 15-year-old girl desperate to fit in at her high school, but she is certainly not like the others. Let's talk about Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. Hey guys, Dan here. This is Dan Reviews It. Welcome to my spoiler-free review for the new film Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. This is in theaters right now. It is from DreamWorks, like I said, and they introduce a new logo, intro, whatever you want to say, at the beginning of this movie. I would think probably inspired by Marvel and how they sort of have a bunch of different Marvel clips in their intro, and they have that cool song. And DC, I haven't reviewed The Flash yet, but I just saw The Flash not too long ago, and DC, I noticed it did the same thing. But yeah, so this one with DreamWorks, the intro kind of showcases, their popular older films, including How to Train Your Dragon and Shrek, and just sort of, kind of going by different characters. The Bad Guys is even in there, which was a really good movie from last year. So that was interesting. Although by the end of this movie, it reminded me, wow, DreamWorks had such great movies, and this is far from it. This is not one of them. So, little spoiler for my review portion later. But before we launch into any of that, let me welcome you into Dan Reviews It. Thank you for finding this video. We've got a ton of great movie and TV reviews for you to check out. Always something new here on the channel. I try to post just about every day for you. So please consider subscribing down below. Hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. All right, so let's talk about this movie. Like I said, it's about this 15-year-old girl named Ruby Gillman, of course. She's voiced by Lana Condor, very popular right now, up and coming for sure with the movie series To All the Boys. But also you've got Toni Collette here as her mother, and basically she's got this rule of, hey, you can't go into the ocean, and I'm not sure she ever fully explains why. It's just kind of a rule. And they're all Krakens. They're, it's a blue family in a a normal colored people world. And no one seems to notice they're Kraken, whatever. All right, that's part of the review. But anyway, can't go into the ocean, but she ends up doing so to save one of her friends who, had a bit of a stumble, an accident. And then she discovers at that point she is indeed a big old Kraken from way back, and what do they call it, a super Kraken or whatever, and they have protected the land and the sea from these mermaids for generations, and she meets her grandmother, the queen of the seven seas there, voiced by Jane Fonda. And so we learn about the battle between the mermaids and the Kraken, and it goes from there, because there's a hot new mermaid girl at school that she befriends, so it's kind of a little bit of a, taboo family story. All right, so also some voices from Sam Richardson, Will Forte, and Annie Murphy from Schitt's Creek voices the mermaid. All right, well, this movie is not good. So I've already kind of voiced that opinion. Why not? Well, first of all, it is very, very reminiscent of not just one, but two recent films from Pixar, Turning Red and Luca. And I admit, I didn't love either of those movies. I thought they were certainly above average, but more middling fare in terms of Pixar. But, they were kind of in the B range for me. But Turning Red specifically, I mean, the parallels are crazy. So, look, I know animation takes a few years to do, but it to me was very reminiscent of like that, Armageddon Deep Impact kind of thing, where you had this movie with a very, very similar plot coming out the same year. And Turning Red didn't go to theaters because Disney Plus was premiering all of the Pixar's at that point in time. Whether that was a holdover from COVID, or I don't know what the story was with that. Turning Red, I think, would have done very well in theaters. But in any event, it's, this idea of this young girl hiding, her true self, from her mother, and growing into this giant creature, under certain circumstances. So very, very similar, and also, just trying to fit in at school and whatever. So There's some relationship stuff here with this boy she likes and all of that. Very, very standard stuff, really. But then all the Kraken stuff. So, yeah, I already kind of said, okay, these are blue people living in the regular world, with white people, black people, whatever. And no one notices. They play it off by saying, oh, we're Canadian. What does that mean? Canadian people aren't blue either. Everybody, you may as well have said, "Oh yeah, we're Na'vi," from Avatar. Obviously, that's a Disney property, but so that just right away, I was like, "This is stupid." Like you can see their gills. Like it doesn't make any sense. And all right, it's animated. Let's suspend our disbelief for a few minutes, right? But if you're going to be an animated movie in the real world with real people, I think there are some expectations of how normal people would behave and react, especially because there's this like sea captain who gives these like tours, and he is forever trying to, find the Kraken because he has a history with it and whatever. And yet even he can't figure out that these people are not human, that they're Kraken. So that's kind of stupid. But also the animation is ugly. The character design is not inspired. The, set design, the backgrounds, just, it's an ugly looking movie, especially, I just watched Elemental, a week or two ago. And compared to that, I mean, this just looks like a, made for TV, this thing has a budget of like 80 million and I can't figure out for what. But yeah, it looks very, very cheap, very ugly in the design. And so that didn't really hit it with me. The humor was just completely absent. I think I maybe chuckled once. And look, I can appreciate that. I'm not a kid. Maybe this movie wasn't made for me, but I did love Elemental. I love the Across the Spider-Verse. I mean, I give animated movies high grades often. But my 11-year-old nephew also hated this movie. In fact, we thought about leaving. He hadn't seen Elemental yet. So, about 20 minutes in, we both looked at each other and were like, do you want to bounce? And he said, no, let's see how it plays out. And at the end, he was like, wow, that was not great, and I said, yeah, this is how we tell what good movies are. When we see a bad movie, we know. So yeah, I mean, that speaks volumes to me personally. It didn't do very well, opening weekend either. So obviously a lot of kids were maybe not interested in this movie, but, yeah, I mean, I was really trying. I mean, the voice work is good, I guess. But that's about the best thing I can say about it, I suppose. This is one of the worst kids movies I've seen in a long time. It's been a while since I gave a theatrically released animated film an F. I don't know what the last one was even. It's been a few years now. I did give Marmaduke an F last year, but that was on Netflix, and I think made on the cheap. But this is a really bad movie. Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken, gets an F from me. Maybe for the voice work, I could see giving it a slightly more positive grade, but it was just, there was nothing going on with this movie of interest. So there it is. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time on Dan Reviews It, hopefully with a better movie. Bye.